Welcome to the the inaugural 420 Bitcoin Magazine live stream. I'm here with Q and Chris Alema, our producer. We're here to celebrate, I guess, really a couple things. We hit 100,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel today, despite having our channel terminated twice in the last 3 months. So that's pretty exciting. Happy to cross that milestone. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. If you're viewing on Twitch, come on over to YouTube and subscribe as well. Or if you're new to the Twitch, subscribe there. Always join us. Like and subscribe to the stream. We've been on a bit of a hiatus, super busy with like terabytes on terabytes of Bitcoin conference related content and getting that all out. We're pretty close to through with all of it. So I think we're going to be going live more often, picking up the stream, starting to include some more fun guests for y'all and getting back to our regular programming within a week or two here. This is a bit of a little later stream. For future reference, we'll probably start at about 1 p.m. Eastern. Are we outfitted to give away Bitcoin today?
It can be done. Just give me a couple minutes.
Yeah, okay. So I think later in the stream we'll probably give away some Bitcoin through the Earned Carrot app. If you don't have Earned Carrot, get that on your mobile phone and get ready to type in codes later on in the stream, for which you can redeem in the Earned Carrot app for actual Bitcoin that you can withdraw into your super cold storage. So what's happening, Q?
I'm going to veto what you just said. And Chris, I know that I'm putting you on the spot. In 7 minutes now, less than 7 minutes, it is my favorite holiday in the world. So we're going to drop sats in 7 minutes. No, I did not put Chris on the spot doing that, but it is that time of year, everyone. Yeah, it's 420.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're celebrating that as well. Pretty excited, I guess. I don't know. 420 is also falls on like my dog's birthday, so very exciting day here at this household.
Happy birthday, doggo. Inaugural
Yeah,
puff
yeah.
for the doggo. This is not
Yeah,
drugs, YouTube.
yeah. She's great. Yeah, so we have I guess a lot to unpack, I would say, after the conference. I don't know if you want to start off with the news from today or give some thoughts and feelings about the conference. We had absolutely fantastic time. Thank you to everyone who bought tickets from our YouTube and Twitch channels. It was super awesome to meet you guys in person at the conference. Q's eating a chocolate bar that is just a chocolate bar. Just
It's not
chocolate
a chocolate bar.
in it's just chocolate in the bar. And yeah, I think it was super cool to have like a small stage in front of the volcano if you're in Miami, where we could bring on kind of big stars and hang out with everybody. It was just so much fun to meet you guys and to hang out in person at the conference. I mean, it had me dying to go to more Bitcoin events, and I think we're gonna do just that. I think me and Q are headed to MIT here in a couple of weeks to do the Bitcoin Expo there. There's a lot of good Bitcoin development and cryptography folks. MIT has kind of been a hub for that. I've also heard rumors that Bitcoin was started out of MIT and brains there. I don't know, can't confirm or deny that, but yeah, it should be interesting.
Okay, so because it's 420 and we're throwing out like ideas that MIT started Bitcoin, I had this thought because I watched awesome. Thank you, Chris. You're the MVP, brother. Um, I'm not plugging this movie. It's actually just like an enjoyable watch. The Atom Project on Netflix. It's a time travel movie. And I genuinely turned to my girlfriend while we were watching it and I was like, okay, either time travel is just never, ever going to be invented, or it was invented, but we're low key
Hey,
like,
wait, sorry, Chris, your messages are popping up on the live stream.
Yeah, no, I pulled it off. We're good. Sorry.
All right, cool.
anyway, my long-winded way of condensing this story. Either time travel is never actually going to be a thing. Otherwise, like someone would be coming back and like stacking stats, or maybe Michael Saylor actually like time traveled back to 2020 for himself, or we're like low key kind of wrong about Bitcoin.
What are we wrong about?
Like, would you not agree if you had the opportunity to time travel, you would go back to like 2013 and slip a note to young, maybe with a little bit of hair on his head, Alex, and be like, yo, dude, don't put all the gel on your hair. And also buy as much Bitcoin right now for under $1.
Dude, my hair was looked a lot like yours except blonde. But it was definitely the writing was on the wall in terms of balding in 2013. So
I'm
yeah,
a terrible
sad
person
times.
and karma will kick my ass and I will be looking like you soon enough.
Yeah, if
I
had
gotta I gotta comment on the time travel thing real quick before we move
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
It's
So
a
time
420 episode.
travel.
This is what we should talk about.
It's also Hitler's birthday, so the fact that you wouldn't
Oh,
go back and kill Hitler makes you racist, Q. By the way.
So time travel is a paradox. You can go forwards. That people have said that there's ways to go forwards if you like. Basically, have you
Yeah,
ever
just
seen?
hang tight, bro. We're going forward right now. What do you mean?
No. So listen to me. So have you ever seen the show Clock Stoppers? That movie? It was like a really bad
Oh
movie.
yeah,
oh
A bunch
yeah,
of
the
Blink-182
Nickelodeon
songs
movie.
with the watches and
yeah,
stuff.
Yep.
So
Good
there's a way to
soundtrack.
get people to go fast enough. I mean, aside from killing people from going as fast as the speed of light or going faster, that's an issue that you have to deal with. But it's easier or theoretically possible to go forward in time. But going backwards in time, I don't think in the laws of physics is possible, because think of it like this. If you're able to go backwards, and let's just say I'm building a gun here. I know that's a bad example. YouTube, don't ban us. But if I were to go, like I'm building a gun, and then I go backwards and I shoot myself as I'm building that gun 5 minutes ago, who killed me when I built that gun? Does that make sense? So it's like a paradox. Like it's impossible to go backwards because of issues that occur with like things that didn't occur yet. Does that make sense? I know that's like very complex and like string theory and physics and shit.
You should watch the Adam Project, because like the counter argument to that is it's fine. You can change the past. However, all that means is like the timeline is going to now start to shift a little bit, but eventually like the future, your future self will have those memories of this new timeline, so that the whole timeline will correct itself. I mean, look, we're
Yeah.
literally talking about made up science fiction theories. Like, I'm a big believer that time is a part of a dimension higher than us. And like, while we cannot see it in the same way that like 2 dimensions cannot see 3 dimensions, like I don't necessarily say like it's in the 4th dimension. It's just in a dimension above us. I love Interstellar for that reason. I think they do an excellent job kind of explaining what a higher dimension could look and feel like to a human, for a human experience. I want to go back and like fix a couple of my mistakes from the past. What can I say?
Okay, how do I tie this back to Bitcoin? First, the time travel movies are Primer and Looper. If you haven't seen them, those are
Dude,
those are
Back
those are
to
the
the
must
Future.
see. Yeah.
What?
I don't remember anything from that movie. I remember maybe like one like second of that movie in my head. But to tie this back to Bitcoin, let's see. I don't know. Bitcoin is beholden to the laws of physics to an extent, like more than fiat or other digital assets. I mean, they all have to be represented digitally, electronically, and people seem to think that doesn't include physics, but it does. But Bitcoin's like creation obviously brings real energy consumption and brings laws of conservation of energy into the monetary realm. Like that would be the difference there. So, I mean, you're not going to see, it's going to be hard. Like we've talked about this on the stream before, of course, but it's going to be hard to get Bitcoin to other places in the solar system and the universe without moving the hash rate all at once because of the speed of light limit. There's like communications problems that happen.
You're moving the goalpost. The
fun
question I had
topics.
presented was, if you were given the opportunity to time travel, would you not go back in time to buy more Bitcoin?
I would buy, yeah. I would go back in time to buy some Bitcoin.
So based on that theory and understanding that, I think all of us are in agreement that if that opportunity was there, we would take it. If time travel is ever actually going to be a realistic possibility in the future, and Bitcoin is going to be what we truly believe it to be, would someone have not already come back in time, i.e. Michael Saylor coming back to tell himself like, yo, go learn about Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, that's part of the Satoshi's gold pot thing. Or what's it called? Honey potting?
The honeypot.
Yeah. So Satoshi has this honeypot treasure trove of Bitcoins that are technically, I guess, less secure than all the other Bitcoin, right? That's like the base level of security that they had then. We have kind of like, I don't know, slightly better methods now of, it's not that the hashing changed. I don't know, Chris, do you know technically what the difference would be? It's just
Yeah, so
the way their wallet address is restored, or
the private key cryptography was just the private key, so it's better for restoration in terms of 12 word or 24 words for restoration. But I think the SHA-256 algorithm has been the same between now versus then. I guess
that hasn't changed.
It would have to have been upgraded of wallet addresses that potentially could get like broken into more easily, but that doesn't make sense because it's still the same hashing algorithm.
I think it has to do with which version of like Bitcoin Core and how those wallet addresses are stored. You know, maybe there used to be a lot more of that stuff online. I remember back in the day, you just save that shit on your desktop. Like,
That's true. Yeah, they might be exposed to more like hot wallet mentality because most people were just running core on their computer and it was obviously exposed to the internet.
yeah. Actually, speaking of that, that was a that segues nicely into another, I guess, 420 anecdote I have, which is like I remember the first time someone told me about Bitcoin. Actually, I was in, must have been like middle school or something like that. And I didn't really pay any attention to it. I didn't understand the concept of mining, virtual mining. It didn't really make sense to me. And I remember the conversation because the person was just like, "How do you not understand this?" And they're just explaining it. Didn't pay any attention to it. Fast forward several years later, I'm living in Germany, and we're actually using Silk Road to buy drugs. I told my friends how to do it. They did not. I didn't actually buy Bitcoin then to make the transactions, but they did. They were buying like weed and salvia and shit over Silk Road back in 2012, 2013. So that was kind of my second touch point with Bitcoin, kind of getting the ideas forming there. But anyway, I don't know. Q, did you ever use, Chris, did you guys ever use Silk Road?
No, I
Tried.
never used Silk Road. I'll leave it to kick it over to Q.
I tried, and I will be completely honest when I say, like, once I went down that rabbit hole, and then my friend was like, "But you have to buy Bitcoin." I literally was like, "No, I'm not doing that. Like, fuck that."
Yeah.
But this was something that a friend of mine, shout out my boy Wesley Kim, for telling me this happened, because full disclosure, my second semester, senior year of high school, I was cutting so much class that like I wasn't in school as much as I was actually in school. And it turns out my senior year econ teacher, on the last day of school when I was not there, literally told our class to buy Bitcoin
Interesting.
in like 2011. And I like DM'd him on Facebook. I'm like, "Yo, like, it's been a minute. I hope all is well." Like, I was having dinner with Wesley Kim, and he told me this. Is this like, did you actually do this, or was he just a little too high last night? And he was like, "No, dude, my financial advisor, who was like a sketchy scumball separate to like this, had actually like brought it up to him, and he had bought a fair amount of Bitcoin back then." And I'm just sitting here, to all of you watching who are still in school, let that be a reminder to not cut class.
Yeah, I would say the opposite. You should get out of class now, leave your school and never look back, and buy all the Bitcoin you can. but
Literally,
but when I was teaching just a few years ago, it was middle school age kids, so I never like promoted Bitcoin to them, but a lot of them were using, I guess not a lot, like a few of them were using NFTs and kind of like trading digital assets, which was interesting. And then they all had, because they're kind of like too young to manage their own bank accounts. They're like underprivileged community, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of them just outright didn't have bank accounts. So they would use Cash App, which I think I've shared before. Like the difference between Cash App and Venmo is I don't believe you need a bank account for Cash App. And so what you'll find is in lower income communities, Cash App actually provides like a means of exchange and a store of value for people for US dollars. So that's just goes right back to Square, Jack Dorsey out there doing God's work. And who would have thought a few years later, of course, they're going to adopt Bitcoin and just like give these people even more of a boost. But it was funny because just like, little middle school kids using Cash App to support their like microeconomy of candy, pizza, and vapes.
And like
back in the
Yu-Gi-Oh
day.
cards and shit.
Yeah, well, no, there were no, that's kind of a difference between, I mean, I wasn't a middle schooler that long ago, but these kids, I never saw any card playing, no Magic the Gathering, no anything. I would play chess. Like my job was to deal with all the badly behaving kids and pull them out of class, and they all had to like in school suspensions, they'd all come to this room. And like, what do you do in this room? It's like, well, we can play chess, or you guys can just like play on your phones. That's all middle schoolers do nowadays. But yeah, I think Bitcoin would be the thing to advise them now if I could go back.
That's wild. Q, you got anything?
I mean, I was big Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh kid, but that was like long before high school. I was kind of done with that. And like religiously obsessed with sports.
Well, that's
But
like
Did
middle,
you
middle
ever-
school age though.
I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh like before the 5th grade because I
Hmm.
got bullied about it.
He was too cool for it.
That's the immune system functioning as it should.
Yes.
Yeah, I never played Yu-Gi-Oh. I had a lot of Pokemon cards. Yeah, we can segue this one of two ways. I was either gonna bring up a question about Axis and Allies, the game, where we could segue into geopolitics and current events, or we can talk about NFTs.
Now let's go geopolitical before we shit on shitcoiners.
Okay. So, did you guys ever play Axis and Allies, the board game?
I
Heard
did
of it,
not
but never
know.
played it.
This is a great game, guys. We should play Axis and Allies for sure next time we're all in the same place. It can take like days. It's like Risk for adults. It's like Risk for people with a master's degree. Maybe
Time out.
is a
Are
good
you
way to
saying
put
Risk
it.
is not for adults because
Not compared to Axis and Allies, dude. Axis and Allies is fucking complicated. Like it'll
Game
take
of
you like
Risk is
Thrones
hard
beats
enough.
Risk.
no, Axis and Allies is like you have to have like an intervention with your family and explain the rule set for like 2 hours. But once you get into it, like you've already invested so much time in learning how to play it that you're just like hooked for life. But anyway, in terms of like geopolitical events, like really funny move. The U.S. Treasury wants to put sanctions on Russia to keep them from Bitcoin mining because they're claiming that they could use that to evade sanctions that were brought against them because of their involvement in the Ukraine thing. I think it's hilarious. Just more and more headlines are going to be about Bitcoin as the US lends legitimacy to Bitcoin just by interests, even trying to attack it. Like we know it makes Bitcoin stronger. I don't know what the sanctions are exactly or how they'll have, if they'll have any impact, but I'm curious to see the response from Russian Bitcoin miners, particularly small miners, right? It's easier to go after the big corporate, Bitcoin miners.
And I think that's so funny too, because the two main Bitcoin miners in the world are based out of China. And I'd say they're more closely aligned with China than they are with the US. So China's not going to just like stop doing business with Russia.
Yeah, but I mean, more importantly, like, I'm not gonna stop doing business with anonymous Bitcoiners in Russia. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I'm not
no.
gonna, I'm not gonna not accept their Bitcoin, or earmark their Bitcoin as sort of like the inhumanitarian. I don't know, Bitcoin.
Yeah,
It's
like
all the
I'm
same
not
to
going to
me.
update my node to say like don't accept from these addresses if the government or something does that. I'm like, no, I don't care. Money's money. It is what it is. My Lightning channel, it's my node. I do what I want.
No, let's say they succeed and squash all the hash rate in Russia somehow, similar to the China event last summer. It just means I get to plug in a miner at home and
Yeah.
profit off it and within the year,
For sure.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, what you both have kind of touched on is the beauty of Bitcoin. While any government can say, hey, you can't buy Bitcoin from this region of the world. Well, the network doesn't operate like that. The network is going to dictate and just operate as it sees fit. As far as like KYC and that stuff goes, completely separate issue. But if this sort of instigates a push for Russian miners to now follow what we've been seeing a lot with publicly traded miners, publicly traded in the US markets, which I'm hard pressed off the top of my head to think of any one that doesn't have a strict hold strategy on whatever Bitcoin they mine. You're essentially forcing Russian miners to adopt that type of a standard. Game theory is playing out.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Hold on, I'm trying to log in. I'm gonna hop all over to the chat and see if we have an audience today. What's happening? Oh yeah, we got 50 people. Oh, and
Yeah.
I see some names from before. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. We missed you. We've been wanting to go live here like every day since the conference, but there's just too much work to be done on our end. So it's great to have you back. D348 has been there since day one.
Hammersaw is a long time listener as well.
Yeah. Yeah, great to see you guys.
This Q guy in the comments is annoying, but aside from that, love everyone else in the chat.
Thank you, Sergio Montano. Appreciate you. Yeah, so what else do we want to dig into today, Q? We were talking supply chain, food crisis, or the signaling of a food crisis before the stream. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you touch on the stuff that Marty Bent and Odell were sharing about some ransomware attacks on our agriculture. But I'm just gonna pound this drum again. Uh, I discussed this actually with Preston Pish in that interview that we just released as well briefly. I've touched on this a few different times before the conference. My source is David Friedberg and the All In podcast, where he kind of broke down roughly a month ago now that we were supposed to be planting spring crops in the end of March, roughly. And those spring plantings were specifically earmarked for wheat. And the way the global wheat supply works is we only really store enough for a 90-day window. So we really only keep enough for the next 90-day period or 1 quarter in advance. Otherwise, it just goes bad. We haven't planted because so much of the actual planting area is unfortunately the regions in Ukraine and Russia, which are dealing with conflict right now. There's no end in sight in that, unfortunately. So that means that none of that planting has happened. We're a month removed from that. I've put a 180 days, so a 6-month window on when you will start to see the world feel the effects of not planting wheat. It's not going to be felt here in America. It's not going to be felt in Great Britain. It's not even going to be felt in Canada. But you see stuff going on in Sri Lanka right now. It's only going to get exacerbated once that actually starts to go into effect and they're not able to import wheat to then feed their citizens. It's going to be felt.
So you're talking about the export of wheat specifically.
Well, more specifically the import, because what it's going to affect is those poorer countries that are lower on the list, and the developed nations, the more established countries with a stronger credit line, they're going to be able to go in and just buy higher cost wheat because the supply and demand dictates that now the price of wheat is going to continue to increase as a result because we have a diminishing supply. Demand is still going up. People are going to keep eating. That doesn't go away. You can fast for as long as you want, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I think like my comments on wheat, it's not good for you. This is used to fatten cows and pigs, and it sustains people, right? Like you can burn carbohydrates, but there's no nutritional value in the shit that you get today. I mean, I highly doubt people are getting like germinated wheat, organic, locally grown within the last 90 days, right? What happens is they separate the germ from that wheat to prevent it from I think the hydrogen specifically in that from making it go bad to give it a longer shelf life. That germ also happens to have like all the nutrients. I think this is right. The germ also happens to have all the nutrients in it. So they separate those and then they freeze dried all the germ in a different container. They grind it up and then they put it back in the bags as just like a powder, so that they can say that it's germinated wheat, but in fact it's not. You've extinguished all the life from that germ and all the nutrients. I mean, this is as everybody knows, like you can eat endless amounts of pasta and just like you'll get full eventually, but it takes way more food. And like today, like generally, like American, anywhere you go for food in general, like it's going to take way more food to fill you up because we've trained our bodies to eat this crap that is not serving them. Like it's not giving us any nutrients. So I'm for, I'm interested to see the repercussions of wheat not getting planted. I haven't looked into that story specifically, but
well, I think it ties back into what you're saying. Like it's used to fatten up cattle and chicken and all this.
Yeah.
And now there's going to be beef shortages, I assume, because they're not getting fed or they can't be sustained or they're not as much meat on them.
Yeah, I don't know. I know on my farm, I mean, we feed them straw and hay and they just graze in the woods. The cows eat apples. They're fine. They're going to have food no matter what. But yeah, I don't know how that would affect the world.
It's not just though.
It's hard to feed chickens without wheat though.
I think like I don't disagree. Like I'm very big on, I don't really try to eat bread unless I'm traveling because it's just convenient and easier for me to not cut that out of my diet. But the rest of the world doesn't necessarily adhere to our dietary standard. Like
Yeah.
in America, we say you should have a daily caloric intake of 2,000 calories. Most of the world gets by on about 1,200.
I will say that the American nutritional labels are all bullshit. Like that.
No,
That.
I'm not
Yeah.
disputing that. That's not what I want to like really break down. But when you start to then break down, okay, the rest of the world is looking for 1,200 calories a day for their citizens. A good majority of those calories come from wheat or wheat derived foods. And as a result, if you don't have access to wheat to then manufacture the main source of caloric intake, i.e., energy for your citizens, well, what happens? They're not going to show up to work. You hear the age old argument of, well, you can mess with me all you want, but you start messing with my ability to put food on the table for my family, like you're going to see a different
Yeah.
side of me.
I think it would depend on like, it depends which societies are like dependent on wheat specifically. I'm not an expert in this by any means, but I think people find a way and get by just fine. You know, it's not ancient Ireland here where we just gotta work with potatoes and find something to export. I mean, global trade seems to be alive and well despite all these supply chain shortages and like the pandemic and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe there's some people just with no food today that wish they had some wheat.
There are a lot of people around the world today without food. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. But on a very separate, much lighter, in my opinion, note, go Gooners 4-2 should be sealed over Chelsea.
Gooners 4-2 should be sealed over
Arsenal,
Chelsea.
their
This is
soccer
a
team.
soccer team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The Arsenal's called the Gooners.
The Gunners.
Yeah.
Oh, the Gunners. Oh, I get it. Okay, and their accent, it's the Gooners. That's funny.
Just
Yeah,
play the
good.
Damn whistle. This is a big game. This is a huge game. So shout out to
Tottenham and
all my-
Arsenal are duking it out for the final spot in the Champions League. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big game.
I want to
Shout out
tie
to-
the wheat. I want to tie the wheat conversation back to Bitcoin real quick. You should go visit our friend Pleb Music's YouTube channel and like and subscribe to that as well. He's doing a very interesting series of videos called Citadel Hunter, and he goes to different Bitcoin citadels and films people. There's only 2 out right now. They're both very well produced. He's an excellent editor and videographer. But yeah, more to come on that. I'm gonna try to get him actually to come to my citadel and film it, which does include a lot of wheat, a lot of crops and animals, and we're getting buffalo soon. I'm really bullish on the buffalo. Can't wait to
That's
have
awesome.
a Bitcoin buffalo. I really want a white buffalo.
Are you gonna brand it with the Bitcoin the Bitcoin logo on it?
What, you just had that handy cue? You just had a bull mask just ready to go?
Bullish, what can I say? Can you hear me through this?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's
Barely.
hilarious.
This was
That's
supposed
the
to be
bull
planned
mask?
for the conference, but we never got around to it.
Where's the bear mask?
Dude, it got delivered after I left Miami. I'm so butthurt.
So it's just at a Miami like hotel?
It's like literally at that hotel, and I want to tell Nick Beard I cannot stay at that hotel. Otherwise, we're gonna pay so much money for the pickup cost.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. What else is happening? There's another news story I know, but I'm just forgetting it.
Well, let's also break down a little bit on this topic, like the stuff Odell was sharing about the
Yeah,
ransomware attacks.
I could talk to it.
Yeah.
So today, the FBI warns of ransomware attacks targeting U.S. agricultural sector. There was also a report that came out today from Newsweek saying several large food processing plants in the United States have blown up or burned down in the past week.
Controlled demolition.
Yeah. So very convenient that the FBI is like warning of attacks today after things have already occurred. So yeah, it was just very interesting. And to Alex's point, I know Marty Bent was like, he's calling it controlled demolition. And Odell was just kind of linking the article. The FBI warns that we're going to see more of this happening. Yeah.
So
think
why
I
do you
read
think
it.
that is? I didn't read the articles. Why do you think that is? Why do they? What a
They don't
ransomware
know.
attack.
They said that there's groups of ransomware hackers looking to take down the U.S. is what basically the art article outlines. They
that'd be
didn't
great.
outline any groups in particular, but they just said online hackers are trying to stop U.S. food.
Alex just wants pure chaos right now.
I'm not in the best location for the collapse of the United States today, but I could be pretty quick. Like I think like as Bitcoiners, a lot of us romanticize this idea of like the sovereign, like minarchists or anarchists or libertarians just kind of tending to our farm. But that's like a very real thing to me. Like I want to live off the land. A lot of my family like is living not 100% off the land, but they could. We got plenty of crops, plenty of things planted, ready to go, plenty of animals, and I want to push that idea forward. I think it would be great to have more citadels, to have like small communities of people that grow their own food. It's a very romantic
Self-sustaining.
idea to me. Yeah, very like sustainable lifestyle, and I think it fixes a lot of what's wrong with the world just by ignorance of it, to be honest. I mean, when you're out there in the middle of nowhere on your farm, you aren't worried about Russia and Ukraine. Like you aren't worried about my kid has 7 genders. Like you're not worried about anything. You just hanging out in the woods, man. You just sit at one with nature, peaceful life. It's beautiful. Like
I think Alex, you sugarcoat that a lot. I mean, it is nice, but it's a lot of work. Like that's part of the reason people don't want that. It's
yeah.
it's like they always said like daylight savings was created for farmers. I don't know the truth behind that, to be honest, but like they were getting up at 4 a.m. to tend to the cows and the chickens and the crops and
we got up. Dude, I would get up with my grandpa and go check the cows every morning. I mean, it was like, yeah, bright and early in the morning, check the fence line. But the thing is, like, these little tasks end up occupying your whole day, but it's a great way to live. You're outside, you're working hard, and you get to reap the fruits of your labor. So if you work hard, you'll have a great little farm. If you don't work hard, you have a shitty little farm. Like, if you want a great big citadel with a lot of friends, like make it happen. I think there's several initiatives right now for people to kind of like share crop and live in little citadel communities. I mean, I think that's the way to go. What about you, Q? You're kind of a city boy. Are you gonna be a city boy forever?
No, dude, I mean, look, I, in a perfect world, would have spent this entire winter like holed up in a cabin up in Montana and just like snowboarded during the day and then worked during the evenings. But like, I like creature comforts. I definitely have bought into the adaptation of my ancestors, which allowed me the ability to go and like spend my time not having to prioritize cultivating my food, but rather like using my time to go bring in money to then spend some of that money towards food itself. That's just been the natural progression of technology throughout society. Like there was a period in our society where working on a farm was the most common job as far as US citizens are concerned. That's just not the case anymore, due in large part to, I think, technology and the advancement of, I think, our city living. Look, you heard me bitch and moan about how much I hate Los Angeles, and yet here I am back in sunny LA. I'll probably live close enough to a city to have like access to what I want, but we got aeroplanes now. I can fly anywhere I damn well please. Although don't get me started on the airlines.
Yeah, for now. I live right on the edge of like the fallout zone. If they were to take down New York City with some nukes. Do you guys think about this stuff? Do you have like bug out plans? Or are you just gonna improvise when
I
the
don't
war
know.
occurs?
I'm an Eagle, Q and Alex. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I'm ready for anything.
That's
I
perfect.
love that to your response. I'm an Eagle Scout. I can handle
I'm
a
an Eagle
nuclear
Scout.
warhead getting sent.
Yeah.
Dude,
No,
I
it's
got
what
plans.
it's-
I'm ready,
it's-
man.
It's what comes after. No,
I
have
played
you read
Fallout 3. I know how this goes.
have you read The Road, Chris?
I've heard of the book. I've never read it now.
Oh my god, dude! There's like top 10 like must read. People hate on McCarthy. Not enough Bitcoin in there, but this guy is like one of the best living writers. Got to read Cormac McCarthy.
I think you actually recommended that book to me. Yeah, because I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
It's the scariest, saddest book you'll ever read.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, yeah, it's 100%, and you will not be able to put it down. Uh, yeah, tying it back to Bitcoin.
Wait,
Could
I want to
Bitcoin
my contingency plan real quick. Um,
contingency plan for a nuclear war?
yeah, I mean, look, I'll be fully honest. I think because LA has so many people in the same way that New York kind of does too. Like, I actually don't think places like LA or New York would get hit because you have too many international people living in those cities. However, this is a nod to all my fellow Californians
Wait, why wouldn't those people get hit then?
because I think there's too many international people that live in these places. Like, for example, the largest populations of Iranian citizens outside of Tehran are Los Angeles, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and New York City. There's not a chance in hell Iran ever bombs those four cities if they ever bomb America, which I don't think they ever would. But like those type of things do factor into an attack plan.
I mean, I would just point out that the United States took out what 2,500 United States citizens on 9/11. So
I don't disagree with that, but I'm trying to not get our stream canceled 2 weeks after that happened.
No, that's not a stream canceling comment. That's a like the Clintons show up at your doorstep one day kind of comment.
The FBI shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just you just disappear from the stream.
But there is like California is always prone to earthquakes, and there's always historically been like a quote unquote big one that happens. There hasn't been that in some time, and like based on forecasting models, like this should have happened 20 years ago. So like the chatter around that, depending on the circles you surround yourself in, can be like genuine fear, like people having like full-blown earthquake preparation kits, strategies, down to like, bro, like I had this conversation with my dad and
have you ever seen an earthquake bed?
yeah,
You ever like in person? Do people have those in LA?
I've never seen it in person. I
It's
don't
like
know.
it's like your bed falls in a trap door and entombs you in like a steel vault
Mhm.
It's
if an
supposed to
earthquake
be like,
occurs.
like I remember when my old roommate got really into this, I was like, dude, but I sleep naked all the time. And he's like, dude, you can't do that. Like, what if like glass falls from your window onto? I was like, dude, I've lived in Los Angeles for almost 30 years. Like, I welcome this at this
Wait,
point.
does he think the clothing is going to protect you?
No, it's not about that. Like, the whole thing is if the earthquake is so bad that like property is getting damaged and then your windows and glass falls everywhere, like you should have shoes and clothes like right under your bed, or like be wearing clothes and your shoes should be under your
Yeah.
bed.
You need a bug out plan. A bug out
Exactly.
plan and a bug out bag.
Like
Go
that's
bag.
that's the whole theory behind it. Like again, I adhere to the whole I've lived in Los Angeles for almost 30 years of my life now. It's never happened. And if it does happen, there's so many other issues that like for example, I got into
Dude, your house will just tumble off that mountain.
you say that, except for the fact
Isn't your
that
house on stilts?
you say that, except for the fact that the house is built. My house was built by my father. So if anything, like this is probably the safest house on this hill right now, as far as like safety. Like I remember when they were literally building the floor and the ceiling right here, my dad was kind of explaining like you're supposed to put wood a minimum of, I think, look, I was 11 years old, so don't quote me on these actual numbers. It was like you're supposed to put it at least 6 feet apart from one another. He was putting it like 3 feet apart to have it be more sturdy in structure. So like there is definitely extra stuff done in this house that 99% of other homes throughout Los Angeles just don't have.
So he was a
Okay,
pain
so-
to work for with building the house with just like taking
Yeah.
extra
Dude,
materials and doubling
he
the
hired
cost.
like one other guy and like that was it. The two of them.
Oh wow,
It was like very much like he did it himself.
that's awesome.
Yeah, the drywall looks really intricate and nice. Looks like a great place. Bringing it back to Bitcoin, what are your contingent? I guess don't give your real plans, but you got to have a plan in place
All right.
for if
no,
something happens for your private keys, right?
I'm not broadcasting that.
No, but I'm just saying like that's an important thing for a Bitcoiner. Like let's say Let's say you have a family emergency and you just have to like leave your, if you keep your Bitcoin in your home, and then you have to leave your home for like a month. What are you gonna do? I mean, this is an argument for multi-sig.
Yeah.
This is why everyone should have multi-sig, and geographically, this is why you geographically distribute your keys in different locations.
Multi-sigs, like the one thing I do have to warn people about multi-sig is when you start doing, like, I think doing a setup with like Unchained or Casa, and by the, like, we are not getting paid to say this. I actually don't use either of them, but I think the hand holding aspect of it is better to start, because when you set up a multi-sig, people don't realize that you can't just have the seeds of both of those. So let's just say I've got a cold card and I've got a foundation passport, and I'm going to multi-sig, meaning that it's 2 of 3, or so I guess I'll use a hot wallet as my third, like a blue wallet. So I have those 3 devices, and you set them up. You need 2 of those 3 keys in order to sign up and sign a transaction and move the Bitcoin. People don't realize that you don't only need, like, you need more than just the 3 seed phrases or the private keys. You actually need the path derivations as well, meaning that you would need the XPubs, the seed phrase, and the path derivation of where it's located for that Bitcoin in order to get restored. Some people think like, oh, I've got all 3 seed phrases. It's like, well, what's the path derivation? Like, I don't have that. Like, your Bitcoin could potentially be locked up permanently if you don't have that. So that's just something that to definitely be wary of. I know Kaza and Unchained do a good job with hand holding people and explaining that. I probably butchered that myself, but I know, like, if you're going to do multi-sig, be very careful about collecting additional information with it.
Yeah, I've actually got some cold cards here ready to go. I'm walking my brother through setup and multi-sig shit via cold card later today.
Did I get that right though, Alex? You need like the XPubs and
Yeah.
the path derivation as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. As far as I know, I don't know. I think I haven't looked into the services they offer for it. I'm much more of a like trust no one kind of guy. I'd rather just learn how to do it with cold card. But I think it's interesting. I think Unchained, I will say I hear more and more people using Unchained to collateralize their Bitcoin, and that's something that's kind of piqued my interest lately.
Mhm.
As I get bored of the price action and look for increasingly reckless ways to make money, I think Unchained might be the next stop.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I guess that we can transition more. So I know, Alex, do you want to talk about war bonds?
I actually don't want to talk about them specifically because they are a security and I hold an outside stake. I may or may not hold an
Oh
outside
man, I
stake
forgot
in that
you're an
security.
industry technically.
Yeah. So I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't think it's
I'll
right. Like
as a
you
person
you saw the like what happened today. I can't remember the Twitter user who released like this list of people who had shilled scams
Mhm.
in the past and how much they'd received and yada yada. I've been approached by a lot of people to do those, and my account is like relatively small, right? So I can only imagine when you get to something like the level of Zuby, not only how many you receive, but how convincing and also how how much cheddar's being put up to do those. It's like
Yes.
15 to, I saw Lindsay Lohan got $35,000 for like a retweet. It's like that for some people that would be really hard to turn down.
I mean,
But
that's more than minimum wage. If you're getting, what is that, $15 an hour times 2,000, that's what, $30,000? Yeah, that's like more money than people make in a year. It's like crazy.
yeah,
15
that's
times 2,000 for, yeah.
you just set me on a tunnel vision back to when I was making like, I don't know, like $18,000 to $25,000 a year. Just like a horror slideshow in my head of my life. Just literal like hand to mouth. Like, get in the Bitcoin industry, folks. It pays you, and they understand value for value. So if you work hard and you're in a Bitcoin focused company, you probably gonna do okay.
They're also, their morals and ethics are normally well aligned with people, you know, like they're not gonna go out of their way to harm you, I would say. I don't know. Alex, you seem like you want to say something there. At least their morals and ethics align with me working where we work.
Oh, I love where I work. I have no qualms with my job, but I'm thinking of other companies that have like dubious business practices that I don't want to name specifically. Again, it's like a weird thing. Like you have a platform, like I don't want to like wreck someone's business or like I mean there's probably only like 50 people watching this, but when it comes to the securities thing, I would just say you're always going to be better off holding Bitcoin. I don't know that for a fact, but that's my hunch and that's my operating principle is that I would have been safer with an asset like Bitcoin that I can custody myself than going out and trying to flip securities or hold on to secure. Like, look what happened to everyone who's holding Netflix today. Um, Sucks.
I have a qualm that I've always hated Netflix, but the price kept going up, so I feel vindicated now that it went down. I feel bad that people lost money on it, obviously, but people are like always shilling it. I'm like, they're always like, this is what Warren Buffett, I know he hates Bitcoin, but that aside, like he talks about like value investing. I'm like, this is a business that should not be valued what it's valued. And like I've stuck by my guns and the price keeps going up because we keep printing money. So
Why do you think they shouldn't be valued?
because they've never made money in the history of the business and they've been around 20 years. I get like that people like the consumers like it, but
What,
like
what do you mean? Netflix has they've never turned a profit.
they've never turned a profit.
Wait, no, I need to plug in my laptop. Chris, you and I have had this conversation, and I will point out Netflix makes a lot more money than we realize.
I think it's debatable.
Okay. So
Debt is money too, guys.
exactly. And what essentially, oh my God, why can't I think of his name?
The CEO.
Yeah, Reed Hastings.
Yes.
In a really awesome interview, he essentially broke down like why it looks like on a balance sheet Netflix has never made a profit, when in fact all he continues to do is reinvest their outstanding income. So I'm spacing right now on what the exact number of subscribers they have based on their most recent earnings report.
So it's kind of similar to the MicroStrategy can only report impairments from their Bitcoin holdings.
Kind of, but essentially, like, I'm just going to throw a number out, not accurate. Don't quote me on it. Someone correct me in the chat of what the actual number is, please. But say they have 100 million subscribers. Right now, it costs $15 a month for the minimum Netflix subscription. That means on a monthly basis, they make $1.5 billion a month. Extrapolate that out for 12 months, you're looking at $16 billion a year. So what do? They go and take a loan out against $16 billion and reinvest it in the company, knowing that if they just stopped production, they stop making new shows, if they stop licensing out content, within less than a 12-month window, they could just pay off the entire loan amount because their cash flow is kind of set to a degree.
Yeah, you're right. I misspoke there, but I've just never liked the business personally. I mean, and that's coming from someone that I've never had a subscription. Doesn't mean that I've never used it. I know my girlfriend has it and stuff.
Well, that's the great thing about Netflix. No one actually has a subscription.
So
there's some parent out there that's just paying for all of us. That's great.
So here's a fun fact from my time in the entertainment industry. Netflix knows that, likes that, and doesn't give a flying rat's ass about that, because what they want to create is an addiction akin to like what the cigarettes company created or tobacco companies created when they rolled out cigarettes. They don't really care that Chris, let's say all of us use Chris's girlfriend's account. They don't care about that, because what they know is Alex and I are going home at night and we're going to turn on Netflix, even if it's for an hour while we're cleaning up the dishes or we're doing whatever, cleaning up our room, doing laundry. But that noise of dun-dun, the Netflix like logo noise, and then a background noise of some show like The Office, Family Guy, whatever those hit shows that are the number one shows on Netflix. It's not their original content really ever. The number one shows year over year tend to be those established comedies that you and I know, love, and just will rewatch ad nauseum. They want to create that addiction so that eventually at a certain point, Alex, when you have a wife, kids, and they have their own account, like you're going to have to fork over money. They created this sort of addiction mentality so that eventually the business model was to essentially branch out
and expand their subscribers accordingly. What they didn't account for was every other studio in Los Angeles turning around and saying, well, I want a piece of that pie. Netflix won't give it to me. So we're just not going to license our content, and we'll put our content behind a paywall.
I will say Netflix's proprietary content has gotten better.
Mhm.
Their shows and movies have definitely gotten better.
Well, they spend the most money.
Yeah, they opened actually. Okay, so when I was living at the Jackson Wink MMA Academy, like out in the mountains in Albuquerque, they opened a Netflix studio because this is beautiful. You're in the mountains, the valleys are all deserts. There's no laws. It's great place to live.
New
They
Mexico has a
opened-
ton of film rebates, just so you know. New Mexico is a
Yeah.
hotbed for film production.
Yeah. They're bringing it in and it's growing. It shows. I mean, the Breaking Bad brings a lot of tourism, surprisingly. Like they're doing shoots every day downtown Albuquerque, somewhere or another. Very interesting business going on there. But they used to come to Jackson Wink to recruit fighters to be extras. Like fighters are, we're training all day. We don't have any money. Like we'll take, $20 an hour to go stand around on a set. So we used to like sign up to like do these shows. I never actually did one, but some of the other fighters would go to them regularly. And the last one, like right before I moved out of Albuquerque, one of the last films that was being there that we had like fighters like doing extras one was whatever film Alec Baldwin shot that girl in.
Oh my God.
Yeah. that was
No.
that was
way.
like that was like year one of like Netflix being in Albuquerque.
Rust. I think the film was called Rust.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I wonder yeah, I don't know. We gotta bring it back to Bitcoin here. We're gonna see a Bitcoin streaming service. We're gonna see Lightning for video. That would actually be a better business model if you had to kind of like pay by the hour and it just streamed automatically from a wallet. Kind of
Yeah,
like
that's
how the
like the Michael
podcasters are doing.
Saylor logic of like renting out property space. If you can do it 24/7 endlessly, like streaming sats is kind of like hotel blocks. You ever hear his analogy on that?
Yeah, he told it to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
he told me about his hotel, how it's like a pain in the ass because you can only rent out rooms for like most of the time that you're renting out the room is empty,
Yeah.
right? Mostly people are out at bars doing other things. So if you could rent them out by the hour in cyberspace over the Lightning Network, issue debt, snatch it back at the second that you need it, like it's much more viable program, I think. I also
agree.
really like his idea of putting a deposit down to present in Bitcoin that can prevent DOS attacks. I think I'm looking to MicroStrategy in the next year to release a product that will basically help out websites with that, to filter signal from the noise. You issue, put a small deposit, I don't know how much, let's just say like $20 to use your Twitter account, for example. No one can reply to it unless they have what he's been calling the orange check verification. Seems like a viable solution because there's no, like we said earlier, there's no consequences in cyberspace. There's no real world friction, and there's no apparent conservation of energy when you're going around spamming people. So
Yeah. I guess the one thing that I would worry about with that is like if you're opening up a channel, I know he used Twitter as an example, like 5,000 sats or 50,000 sats, I think he said. My one issue is like I would hope that the program could be running natively on your node, meaning that like, yeah, you're escrowing it on an app on whatever node you're running. But like, I wouldn't want to like send it to Twitter and they escrow it myself, because then that's like honeypot and like you're trusting a third party in a way, or at least more trusting of them if you're running it on your own node or your own instance.
But at a certain point, you're going to have some trust, unless everyone is going to be expected to be able to.
Multi-sig.
What do you mean?
Just put it in a multi-sig escrow between like an attorney, the business entity, and yourself.
Yeah.
Like I think
And if you act in bad faith, that the attorney by law has to issue the sats to the business.
So when does YouTube release all of our sats?
YouTube? Oh yeah. I don't know.
I'm just
man.
gonna keep dunking on YouTube until we get the check mark now. Now that we got 100K.
We haven't applied for the check mark yet. I've been very busy today, but we're gonna get our check mark. We're gonna get our shiny platter soon. We'll display. We'll make a video with the platter. I don't know. Can we? You know, what'd be fun is to like melt it down to mine Bitcoin. Like if we just take our like 100 sub plaque and just like melt it down to run a miner for a couple hours, and then take that Bitcoin and I don't know.
That'd be funny. Make a good video.
Yeah. So where do you stand with your Bitcoin mining adventure, Q? You gonna pull the trigger or what?
No, I've opted to not. I'm gonna just prioritize getting I'm keeping everything in dry powder until the crash.
Until the crash. Q predicting a crash here to what level?
I don't know what the price level is, but I have no mathematical backing for this thesis. It's something that I'm trying to map out. Like there's no publicly traded mutual fund or ETF for Bitcoin. However, the correlation with NASDAQ, especially the NASDAQ 100 and Bitcoin, is a signal to me that there are big money players that are really moving the Bitcoin price right now. It's not the plebs. I'm sorry to burst that bubbles, but my $5 recurring hourly purchase is not moving the price of Bitcoin in any direction, nor is yours. There are, however, privately traded mutual funds that high net worth individuals can buy into. One such example is our dear friend of the show, Dr. Jeff Ross. I'm not saying he's doing this, but I'm just giving an example that private mutual funds exist.
Yeah,
Well, let me finish real quick.
Go ahead.
So
yeah.
these other private funds that I believe are really the movers of the Bitcoin price, as well as the NASDAQ stock price, are going to just treat Bitcoin, as Michael Saylor said to us on the news desk, like a tech asset. It is a tech asset for the foreseeable future until a massive decoupling event happens, which is going to be a bursting of the credit markets. Now, what I think happens first is a sell-off of fear when people start to have that conversation around, oh, the credit market, we're on our last, this is the last week before the credit bubble bursts. Oh my God, pandemonium, CNN, Fox, everyone, save your money. You're all going to die. That moment will cause a huge sell-off in all markets. We saw it in 2020 in March of 2020. You saw Bitcoin, NASDAQ, public markets, everything, housing market tumbled for a moment. And we had a quick recovery in everything. And it's going to have we're going to see a similar thing happen where these rate hikes that are going up slowly. Nope, we can't do that. We got to bring it down. Oh, we actually need to be purchasing the bonds we're issuing because no one actually believes that we're going to exist and these bonds are going to be worth anything in 10 years time. So we have to keep buying our own junk bonds, further adding to the inflation issues that we're seeing. But those money movers will start to decouple at that moment. Half of them will stay in the public markets because they'll buy into what the Fed is saying because they've succeeded under that. But the other half, the ones who are more focused on managing risk, will start to see the greater benefit of what Bitcoin can do.
Q, I have to address something. I think we've got our friend who said this, Wade Hoffman, in the chat on YouTube.
Do it.
I don't know where you saw that. Steven or Stefan Kinsella. I know who he is. I actually wrote his citations for the Bitcoin standard and the fiat standard, very familiar with his work. Unfortunately, we had to issue hundreds of video infringement takedown notices and shit. And one of his videos got like caught in like a dragnet takedown. So I've already apologized to him profusely. I'll do it again. Hey, Stefan, sorry.
Wait, if it makes you feel better, Alex got me, and I work with him at the same company.
Yeah. We also took down Q's video. We gave express permission to post it. So you're in the same boat. Your video will be restored. no questions asked, and you will not have a strike on your account. As for everybody else, stop stealing our shit. But yeah, Stefan Kinsella, you're good, man. You're good. We're gonna resolve this.
The downside of algorithms, I mean, I think, or at least YouTube says that's 2 other times we got taken down, no strikes, no warnings, full suspension because of algorithm issues. So yeah, it's just crazy.
All right.
Yeah. What's that?
I'm just gonna say in 8 minutes, whatever we're talking about, I'm gonna interrupt because it's gonna be 420 in our home base of Nashville.
Oh
Nice.
shit, I gotta check my war bonds. We've got a special announcement coming.
Which shilling securities that you own?
I'm
I
not,
brought it
yeah,
up
yeah.
the first time.
No, it's okay. No, I'm interested. It's funny. Like, I think we can, aside from that, like, I think it's like unethical to promote securities. I think it'd be really dicey if you're like heading a big company and you're talking, Michael Saylor doesn't go on and make false promises or hyperbolic statements about MicroStrategy stock at all. He's very focused on Bitcoin because there's no benefit really to him for what he's doing. Actually, someone on his scale definitely has benefited from getting other companies to YOLO their treasury into Bitcoin, but he does not control Bitcoin. It's not a security. But in terms of the other securities we're joking about is like NFTs, been thinking a lot about NFTs on Bitcoin. I'm the first to say it's a shit coin, but I'm also interested. There's like a pretty interesting history and story about NFTs on Bitcoin through Counterparty, that as a Bitcoiner, if you're like blindingly like Bitcoin maximalist like I am, and you just don't have anything else because you just don't have any hope, you don't want to take any risk, you just want to hold Bitcoin, still worthwhile, I think, to go not to buy them, but to go look into it. It's an interesting history of non-fungible tokens. Hal Finney, some think Hal Finney was definitely instrumental in Bitcoin as we know it, but one of the founding fathers, OG, rest in peace, Hal Finney. He actually predicted cryptocurrency trading cards, which would be basically non-fungible tokens or hashes pointing to people in 1993. Go look up that post. It's very interesting that he was able to do that. And he kind of nailed it. Like, this is like a niche bubbling market that's just going to be all over the place. I guess my 2 cents on it, for the purposes of this conversation, would be Bitcoin is definitely superior. Put all your eggs into Bitcoin. But I think NFTs are here to stay. I think most of them don't need to be on a blockchain. There's no reason for it. But I'm interested in the development of NFTs on Bitcoin, as I'm interested in the development of stablecoins on Bitcoin, because it issues those securities with more security inherent to Bitcoin. And also it gives people access, at least with the stablecoin Taro thing, like it gives people access to the currencies of other countries when they might not have enough money to tolerate Bitcoin's volatility. Like they might be using Bitcoin as a bank account, but they can't really tolerate their crazy swings because they're experiencing like 50 to 100% CPI in their country, something like that. So that's my long-winded rant about NFTs right now.
I have an opinion on NFTs that is not popular. I've been scolded for sharing it before by our colleagues here at Bitcoin Magazine, but I'm a firm believer that by the end of this decade, you will not be able to purchase a ticket to especially sports events or even just any like concert, arena, ticketed events. They will all be NFTs going forward. Because
I think why wouldn't they provide the optionality to not do it? I agree with you that many will do it, but
So there's a whole thing with, especially when it comes to like sports ticket sales, where currently the market itself functions through dynamic pricing. And essentially what dynamic pricing is, a game on a Tuesday night versus the Lakers versus like
I'm just going to use Washington, D.C. because I used to work for the Wizards. So a Tuesday night game versus the Lakers versus like a Friday night game versus the New Orleans Pelicans. No one gives a shit who the New Orleans Pelicans are, at least right now, versus the Lakers. So that ticket price for the Lakers game is going to just be listed higher on the Wizards platform as is because it's the Lakers versus a whatever team. The hope is, and the goal for why dynamic pricing exists on the team side of things is because they want to maximize their revenue for each ticket while minimizing the secondary and tertiary ticket sales markets. However, even with these high ticket prices, these secondary markets still exist and prosper, but these teams don't benefit or get to reap any of those rewards. Enter NFTs, where you can all of a sudden have built into the contract, hey, all ticket prices in the 100 sections, $250, regardless of day of week, regardless of who the opponent is. Now, all of a sudden, it's built in that every single time it resells, the team is going to get a 10% kickback, regardless of what the sell price is. If you sell
For dividends,
more or
from
less.
the dispenser. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you can introduce cheaper tickets so that real fans have access to all ticket prices all of a sudden, because the team itself is going to offer it at a more regulated price level. Regulated is the wrong word, but like a more evenly distributed price level. And then all of a sudden, the team can still benefit by not pricing out every single fan. And when it enters those secondary and tertiary markets, there's now a new revenue stream coming in for these teams that they didn't have before. This year, Ted Leonis, who owns the Wizards and the Capitals, already announced that 2 sections of, I worked there when it was the Verizon Center. It's not called that anymore, but I'm going to call it that. 2 sections in the Verizon Center were sold strictly as NFTs, so that even when the ticket was used and done, now the team can use NBA Top Shot, put in a clip from that game, a highlight, or Alexander Ovechkin scored his 800th point. Well, guess what? This Russian guy that most of his fans are back in Russia and are never going to see him play in the NHL. Well, this NFT that collects the actual clip of his 800th point, career point in the NHL, you can go buy that. Fine. It's going to sell for 1/4 of the actual price that the ticket sold. But guess what? The Capitals are still going to get that 10% or however much that they've negotiated into that contract. They're still going to reap that reward, introducing an additional new revenue stream. So for that reason, once one sports team starts to do it, all others will follow suit.
I'm cool with NFTs as long as they're on Bitcoin, because I think when you start going to other chains, you're just arbitrarily becoming the Federal Reserve and you're printing more tokens out of thin air for no reason to prop up things.
To be fair, you can do that on Bitcoin as well. But 2 things I guess I would differentiate. NFTs on other chains are like securities upon unregistered, unregulated securities.
Mhm.
NFTs on Bitcoin are securities on unconfiscatable property, sovereign asset, right? But yeah, you can mint them out of thin air. But I believe, I don't know if this is the case for all, but at least through Happy 422. Cheers. I've got,
I just took a fat rip.
I don't know how to do this.
Oh my God.
I'll drink some water.
Motivated.
I'm like,
Yeah, I don't
I'm
have
so
any.
sorry, DB. I'm sorry, CK. I know you guys are probably watching this. You
No,
said
they're
none at
probably
the
not.
conference, so I followed that rule. You didn't say anything once I got back home.
They're probably at the secret hideout. But I've got Q. I don't have any drugs in my house anymore. All I've got is this bottle of oil.
Is that the
It's,
tincture you were telling me about?
I don't think it's a tincture. It's literally just like weed olive oil. There's like 300 milligrams of
In the total
THC in
bottle?
here. Yeah. So I just like drop her a couple of them now and then. It's great.
How does that work when you cook with it?
I don't
Like,
cook with it.
You haven't cooked with it ever.
all right,
No,
we're going back to the NFT
No,
thing.
no,
So,
no, no,
Alex,
no. It's 420, Chris, be
oil-
quiet.
Yeah, it's
I don't care
420,
that you're
man.
not a stoner.
Shut the fuck
You
up,
knew
Chris.
we were talking about
Shut the no, I'll say no. I don't cook with it because I don't cook with seed oils because they're a shitcoin.
Olive oil is not a seed oil.
some olive oils are.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So, no,
olive
so
oils. You go ahead.
I'll
tell
take
me.
this. So like some olive oils, my girlfriend actually sent me this video that I actually kind of semi knew about. So certain olive oils, if it's from the same estate or same location, it's good. But like if you see Bartolo's or that brand, but Bartolo's, or I forget whatever.
That's like the
Bartelli's.
cheap, shitty olive oil, though.
What?
That's like cheap, shitty olive oil.
Yeah,
Like,
so
you
so
know what
that
you're getting
one,
when you get shit
it'll
like
say
that.
like it's from like it could be potentially from Argentina, from Italy, from France, from like all these different locations. What that means is that they could take the olive oil and then process it with other things, and they get away with it saying it's from one of these regions, but like they leave out that they like cut it with like basically canola oil or other or soybeans or whatever to make it. But like
Most
if
of
you
the-
have like real olive oil from like a vineyard or like something like that, that's like legit, or like a single estate or place, then it's good.
I'll put you further into this rabbit hole. A lot of the olive oil that we get in the United States is complete trash because the Italians know that we don't know the difference. So you should really smell your olive oils when you get them and get to know the smell of a good olive oil. You should check and make sure it's in a very tinted dark glass. That's to prevent the olive oil from being exposed to UV and spoiling.
Mhm.
But a lot of the scent and taste of olive oil that we've come to know and enjoy in America is literally just like semi-spoiled like shit
Yep.
olive oil. If you've ever been to it, you've been to Italy several times, Chris,
Yep,
right? The olive
yep.
oil there, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's incredible.
Fantastic.
It's like
But I still-
otherworldly.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised like, yeah, olive oil for savory, butter for sweet, but I'm like 100% butter guy now. I cook everything. If it needs like whatever lubricant or something, I just a fat. If it needs a fat, I put butter. And I know
My
it's-
mom never went the margarine route. Margarine is like
Ugh.
so bad for you. My mom, like, it was
Ugh.
like, I know even when I was growing up, they're like margarine, like it's like butter. My mom like never caved on that. She was very hard, only butter ever. We did use canola oils, but sparingly.
I mean,
Yeah.
kind of. Alex probably had a different experience. Actually, you know, I'm not going to try to equate either of your guys' experiences, but like, I feel like especially
Growing up in the 90s, I'll age us like that. Like that was a big time when I think preservative foods and just fast and easy, convenient meals
Oh yeah.
were being introduced.
Without
Like,
a doubt.
I've had this conversation with my parents. Like they did their best, and a lot of it was just the information they were being given and handed. But at the same time, like we now know, like how absurd was it that I was being given sugary cereals before going to school, and then my teacher to be like, "Why are you so hyper in class?" Probably had
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020.
Man, on that note, also while I was teaching, like, that was probably one of the most frustrating parts of my day, man, is going to lunch and watching these kids get served absolute garbage, trash. I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, Michelle Obama. A lot of work to do on the school lunch front. Like, these kids had the option to eat fucking Papa John's pizza every day for lunch. And they do it. They do it. They eat it with soda. They have candy afterward. And I'm just like, this is why these kids are retarded. Like, they can't pay attention. They have no energy. They have diabetes. Like, you're just feeding them poison all day long.
You're not wrong. I mean, you want me
Yeah,
to,
I don't.
I went
sorry,
on this
that's.
rant. No, dude.
Yeah. I don't know how
I'm in a
Bitcoin
ranty
fixes
mood.
this. But I think the Bitcoiner like diehard anti seed oil, which was actually funnily enough, like I thought it would be more of a kind of like a shtick, and I would never see someone practice that in real life. Like I myself eat a lot of meats, but I eat a lot of like shitty food too. But I try to eat like a lot of meat. Like I really like steak. But when I was in Miami, we had members of our squad that are just like, no, that has seed oils. I won't eat it. Like I can't. I was like, well, we're at a
Or
restaurant.
they do
What,
eat it
what the
and
fuck
they-
are you gonna eat?
Yeah, no, or they do eat it and it's like really goes through them.
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
there's this, and this is something that I got into this debate on with some of our colleagues when I was up in Philadelphia last weekend. Like I love this seed oil movement, but when you really break it down of like what it is that people are against seed oils on, is the fact that there are these preservative chemicals in it. So if you just, again, expand that out to apply it to everything else and say like, well, if I don't want to use seed oils because of all the preservatives that are being used in that then go into my body, I'm going to call you out, Joe. I'm calling you out because every single time you post a picture of the steak that you made with a
fucking monster next to you is one of the grossest things to me. Like, you didn't
That's
eliminate those
hilarious.
preservatives. You literally just reintroduced them through a new medium into your body, and probably worse preservatives for you. Just my 2 cents on it.
Energy drinks are trash. Although they're great. I mean, they work.
I used to drink them so much, it definitely contributed to my destroyed stomach now. Like, I'm just anti-preservatives in general. Like, the fact that so long as if we don't go to Boston, then I'll be in LA for probably like a good chunk of time, and I'll be able to like really cook my meals for myself and like not have to eat out and like clean and detox my body. I'm gonna look sickly next week. I'm just saying. But like, it's all to clean out all the junk and shit I've been eating for the last 6 months while I've been traveling everywhere.
Yeah. I think the best move is like vigorous exercise and fasting. You don't
I
really
can't
need more.
fast.
You don't need more than one meal a day, dude. You can get into that mindset if you want to.
Look, I eat most days. I end up only eating 2 meals, more because I get so busy with work that I forget to eat lunch. So it's not like a thoughtful fast. And then all of a sudden my body's like, yo, I literally cannot like press any buttons because all I'm seeing are advertisements for food, even when they don't pop up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, someone posts a meme with a burger and I'm like, oh, like McDonald's sounds kind of good right now.
I don't
Exactly.
like McDonald's, but
Exactly, though.
I do hear you. I'm like half joking. I'm giving you advice. I'm fat. I'm 200 pounds. Like, I'm trying to tell you about fasting, but I do genuinely like eating once a day. It's probably like the best state of mind you can be in, or that I have felt personally, is when I'm just eating once a day, a good healthy meal. But bringing it back to Bitcoin saves you a lot of money to make better food choices. Really, really saves you a lot of money. And it's interesting. Like, I downloaded Uber, for Miami, and so I guess I have Uber Eats also as a result of that. And so I was like scrolling through Uber Eats, like, what's all this about? And then I didn't buy anything because I was like, not hungry. It's the middle of the night, like whatever. Close the app. 2 minutes later, I get like a notification like, hey, do you want $10 off? Like, they're just like beckoning me back to the Uber Eats app. And just like, if you wait on it, they'll send you, if you open the app, close the app, they'll send you a notification to come back in, give you a discount. Very funny. Very clever. We need to integrate that with this stream somehow.
I think we should just drop some more sats to keep them at bay. Should we throw
Oh yeah,
some
did we?
on the Rumble?
Oh yeah,
group?
we dropped them at 420 on East Coast time, but I could drop more now.
We should do another 420 drop. I mean, the Rumble crowd is outpacing YouTube crowd. I think the YouTube crowd needs to go get some friends to come join us, because Rumble is outpacing you guys 4-1 right now.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm super bullish on Rumble, man. I'm gonna log in and see what it looks like again. It's oh, we are on the very top videos on the homepage. That's fucking awesome.
You should go read
Yeah.
the chats, because
Is the chat awesome? Are they roasting us right now? I found like there's an intersection like of like libertarian, maybe like anarchist people, Bitcoiners, and the far right people on Rumble. Can you describe them as far right? Isn't that what it's known for? To be like the
no,
far
we're done
right?
using right and left terminology.
Oh,
Mark
what do we
Moss
use
would
now?
smack you if he heard that.
What are we using? What's the pronouns? What
We're not using any pronouns.
are we calling them?
I'm not going to call them anything anymore. We need to stop doing that. I'm not going to feed into that.
What do they call themselves? What are you guys on Rumble? Put right now in the chat. What are you?
Rumblers.
Yeah.
Rumble
People,
tumbles.
humans, individuals. My favorite are these two. The digital currency is useless, from Confederate Christian. I'm going to think that's CK's burner account rather than someone who thinks that the Confederacy is valid. And then 321 David, what the hell are you guys talking about? Honestly, none of us know. So let us know when you figure out, so that maybe we can know more.
Oh, he's hotboxing with Mike Tyson. I don't know what that means. That's like a hilarious. Yeah, that's a hilarious show that Mike Tyson does. I don't know what that has to do with us though.
Oh, like literal, like weed hotboxing?
Yeah. That's like Mike Tyson's thing. He gets really high now.
I mean, look, I would be so down if all three of us could just be in the same place right now, and Alex and I are just passing a blunt back and forth, and then Chris actually gets his first high just being in the room that's being hotboxed. Because let me tell you, you'll still get high.
You want to give some prior chain? I'm still astonished. Confederate Christian, digital currency is useless.
I mean, if he wants to talk about central bank digital currencies, I mean, he's correct.
I don't
No,
even.
I
That's
don't- I don't want to
that's-
give a guy who has Confederate in his name any more airtime. That's my 2 cents.
Are we banning the word Confederate?
No, just more from from the lens of like, I don't think his perspective is anything more than just to just like stir the pot.
I don't know.
think-
I'm not from the South. That's one place I want to live but have not yet, is the American South. You guys ever? I guess Chris is there.
Technically,
Chris.
you just doxed me. I just live in the
Oh.
South in general.
Oh yeah. Hey.
This greater region of America, which constitutes like 40% of our land. He lives
Yeah.
somewhere on that.
Chris
Uh,
lives in the
If you
direct
have a
cardinal
globe,
direction.
he lives
south.
just under the D in United.
No, I mean, I guess. What do you want to know about it? I've been here not that long.
Oh, do you have a Confederate flag outside your house?
No, I haven't seen too many of them, to be honest. And I do not own one. No. Q is dying over there.
No, but funny enough, there. You want me to go outside and show you where my neighbor has like some very interesting flags?
Wait, so
What
do you
are
have a
the-
Confederate
what are the
flag out there,
flags?
Q?
No,
In
not like
California?
there's one person who pretty much since the 2020 election has left up a Confederate flag, thin blue line flag, and their Trump 2020 flags. And they're still up. What is it now? 16, 18 months later?
All right, good for them, man. Placeholder president. If you have principles, I'd rather you stick to them than just go with the current thing. So I kind of respect those people more than certain other whole sects of the population. In some ways,
Q,
know what I mean?
you got to troll him by getting like a 84. What is it? Bush and Kerry shirt or Bush and I forget what it was, but it's like that famous shirt bumper sticker from like 84. I gotta look this up
Honestly,
now.
my 2 cents on like that. I really want to submit a claim. I forget which government entity is supposed to prosecute this, but it's technically illegal to deface the US flag in any way. And deface includes things such as changing the colors of the US flag or putting text over the US flag. And so,
The thin blue line flag.
yeah,
Sure. I would assume that one's like, isn't that like an official police flag thing, or what is the thin
But-
blue line?
based on the laws of this country, if you change the colors of the flag, it is illegal.
It's
But that's a
illegal to
different
counterfeit
flag.
money, but the Federal Reserve
a
does it every
completely
day.
different-
We live in clown world, Q.
But it's the
Yeah.
but like you see that flag and it's still the stars and stripes, is it not?
I don't know. I don't have one.
I think you're technically right. I think it's 50 stars, and yeah, it's just a discoloration.
They
or
literally just
something.
changed the colors of
Yeah.
it, which technically speaking is like other than burning the flag is like the second thing they list as far as defacing the flag, changing the colors,
Yeah.
and writing text over it.
There's a lot of weirdly religious like old laws in the United States. Like you have to have, if you have a flag up, it's illegal to not have light on it at night. Is one that I have. I don't know if that's true, but I remember that
I don't know
one.
if it's illegal, but it's like irreverent to do it. So I know you're supposed to.
There are
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
less
and you
flags in
can't-
my
you
neighborhood
can't-
without lights on them.
You can't put a flag above the U.S. flag.
Mhm.
We're
Well,
not
that-
supposed to. I don't know.
With the
Is that a
exception
law?
of the only flag that can fly equal to the US flag is the state flag of Texas.
That's
What's
actually
the,
not true.
uh,
Also, internationally, you can put flag, like the Olympic flag can be above all the flags, and then all flags should be equal.
No, I just meant at home.
Oh yeah.
So what's the flag for Bitcoiners? Is it just the currency symbol, or is it the "Don't Tread on Me," or is it what's the "Don't Tread on Me" actually called? It's like a German name.
Yeah, I forget.
Can't
Let me
remember.
look this up.
There's a couple of them, but I'm interested to know like what percent, like who's flying which flags at your Citadel.
Gadsden flag.
Yeah, the Gadsden flag. Yeah, yeah.
We just like I got into
I
this
don't.
debate a little bit before, but like, who made the decision that Bitcoin needed to be orange?
Is it the opposite color green? Is that on the color wheel? I don't know. I'm just
No, I haven't read anything about that color choice, but I know that it went from like gold to like a multi-toned, weird, like shitty gold color to orange. Right, because it used to have the tie bot lines through it, and then or single line all the way through it, and then we went to the two
Double
lines.
line.
Yeah, and tilted it like, I don't know, 40 degrees or something. But I'm not sure. I don't know if I would do a flag. It seems very virtue signaling. It's the same way, like I don't feel like I need a president, just therefore I've never voted, and there's no consequences for that.
Let me tell you, after filing my taxes, like not only do I need a president, but I need one that's gonna like stop taxing me in the way that I be taxed. I am not the person you need to collect money from. I'm over it.
Yeah,
so mad
taxation-
I had to pay taxes this year. I'm so mad
What did you think you wouldn't have to pay taxes this year?
because I've never paid taxes before. I've always gotten like a refund.
What do you mean?
but yeah.
Like, I
only
You
ever
usually-
got
still pay taxes.
No, I usually have money going out of each paycheck towards my taxes, but at the end of the year,
I have write-offs and stuff that I typically have that will then decrease what my net income is, and therefore I've overpaid taxes and I get some back. Last year,
Oh, you didn't get any money back. That's the
I,
problem.
I owed money. I literally
Oh,
had to pay
really?
more money.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
not doing your.
I've
You're not
owed
doing
money
your.
to- Sorry, go ahead.
You guys aren't doing your taxes right. So you have to
let me
rerun the
take that up with my
numbers so that
accountant.
that negative red like you owe turns into a positive plus green. This is what
I
you get
literally
back. You have
paid
to
an accountant
reconfigure
for me, and
everything.
she didn't do it.
No, I got money back from the state, which I was surprised. But then I did owe taxes to the federal government, which I see as a good thing. I got to hold Bitcoin longer that I didn't owe the state. So I think that's a good thing.
The state of New Mexico owes me $1, but they won't release it. They're not gonna mail me my fucking dollar.
I owe the state of Vermont 15, and I'm never gonna pay that parking ticket. So
So Q is now wanted in the state of Vermont.
Like on it, like I actually genuinely had this conversation
with Dylan and Tyler when we got to Miami,
and I was like, how serious are parking violations? Because like in LA, you can get screwed if you have too many parking tickets outstanding. But like the moment I saw it's a $15 fine, I was like, I mean, like, I guess like this would be like
Hey
the
Q, we
cheapest-
gotta. We
What?
217 Andy on Rumble says, "Why the hell am I watching this? Total waste of time." We gotta bring it back to Bitcoin. We gotta educate these Rumblers. If you guys are watching from Rumble and you don't have Bitcoin yet, maybe we should do a round table. Give your elevator pitch for why they should buy Bitcoin. And let's put Chris on the spot first.
All right.
no. You know what? Screw that, Alex. Your idea. You go first.
I think if you've ever had a like conflict with your bank, or any pressure from your bank, or we've all had to pay to access our own money. We've all experienced taxation, which is a form of theft. We've all experienced inflation, which, whether you realize it or not, is another form of theft. So if you're tired of being thiefed and stolen from, you should buy Bitcoin. It's a sovereign asset that, if custodied correctly, is very, very hard to take away from you, barring like physical torture. And even then, you can set it up so that it's out of your hands. Other great properties of Bitcoin is it's a property. It's probably the only proper thing that meets the definition of property and property ownership to my mind. Even as like a landowner, that shit can and will be taken from you by the state. You will receive an eminent domain case from BlackRock out of thin air. I ramble about this a lot on the show, but when you own Bitcoin, that sort of thing doesn't happen to you. It's a scarce money. There's only 21 million. Only ever be 21 million. It's not a company. It's not controlled by a company. It's controlled by people who run nodes. I don't think I have enough cable here to put my node in the camera, but we all are, running our nodes, which basically validate transactions, cast out fraudulent transactions. It's a very complicated way to think about money if you've never experienced it before. And if you've never really considered Bitcoin or delved into it, unfortunately, you're going to learn that you've been basically misguided about the current financial system, and that much of what you learn about contemporary economics is in fact wrong. And people who become diehard Bitcoiners basically just bite the bullet and, you know, re-educate themselves. And there are people who are fans of freedom and not getting fucked over by the state and not owning nothing and being happy as your governments and large corporations want you to be, but rather actually having an appreciating store of value and medium of exchange. I can send value to Q, Chris. We are dropping value to all you people on Rumble, whether you realize it or not. When we drop those codes so that you can get Bitcoin through the Earn Carrot app, that is going to be the most sought after asset in the world in the next 10 years, if it's not already. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, if you don't get it, we don't have time to explain it to you. But nonetheless, we're here to try. So that is why we're wasting your time today.
I got the next one, Q, unless you want to go.
Go for it.
Yeah, the state hates you, and this is a way to peacefully co-opt and go around them. I know Q made a great point. You know, it's not about left and right. Like, the state hates you regardless of what side you're on. As long when you stop being the one giving them money in the form of taxes, or you stop voting for whatever the issue that they're trying to push and peddle at the time, you know, they're not about it. And Bitcoin's a peaceful way of opting into a different system, and it's a system that rewards you know, self-sovereignty. And it's like, exactly to Alex's point, it's the only form of property that you can physically own by memorizing 12 or 24 words that are your private keys in order to have your own wealth and money. And even just look at like Ukraine and Russia, not to get political on one side, but Ukrainians are trying to flee as they're getting bombed. And it's the way that they can store their wealth. You know, obviously they can't sell their houses. They were having trouble drawing money from their bank account. So they're able to, you know, any Bitcoin they had, they could leave and go wherever they want. And then Russians, as we cut them off, not, you know, Putin and the bad ones, they're doing that. I know that's how we're trying to harm, but there's 130 million people that are pretty innocent that we just harm just by cutting them off of the SWIFT system. And it's a way for them to prevent getting harmed. So send it over to Q.
I'm gonna change it up a little bit, and I'm not gonna use my own anecdote. I'm gonna
Paraphrase the Michael Saylor comments, only because I had this conversation with a very, very close friend of mine over the weekend, with one of our colleagues who was there as we were just kind of like explaining Bitcoin in far greater detail. And by the end of this explanation, he genuinely was like, fuck, okay, no, I'm going to start rebuying all the Bitcoin I can, and I'm never going to sell it, because he had just sold his Bitcoin to buy his house. And it's the purest, as Alex mentioned, the purest form of property. But what I'd like to help you sort of see is this is digital real estate. There's 21 million Bitcoin. There's never going to be any more. So in the same vein as the old Mark Twain quote, where buy up as much land as you can because they can't print more of it. We're never going to print any more Bitcoin. Now, relating it back to how you're going to actually use it and interact with it. You can't sell off one bedroom in your home as the value of it goes up to profit off of just that little bit. But you can with Bitcoin, because you can sell and buy in tiny little fractions. But those families that bought that prime real estate in New York City, they didn't sell it generation over generation. They maintained it throughout each generation, taking out a loan against it, going and buying up other properties to then develop and then generate cash flow for their families. But each generation would still receive that original property, and many of them would take loans out against that property. Bitcoin, as of right now, you can take a 50% collateralized loan. So Bitcoin, I believe, is just under $42,000 a coin. If you have one Bitcoin, taking out one of these loans, you're essentially granted $21,000, roughly speaking. In this scenario, that's not the most ideal, but in the future, we anticipate you'll be able to take it closer to a one-to-one loan out against your Bitcoin. But the price of Bitcoin isn't going to stagnate when that happens. The price of Bitcoin will continue to appreciate over the course of time as generations continue to pass.
So now say you took out this loan against $42,000 worth of Bitcoin over a 10-year period of time. Well, guess what? By year 5, Bitcoin's value is far higher than $42,000. So say you want to just get rid of this loan right now, depending on how much it's actually increased in value, you can take off just like a little bit. You can sell off just the bathroom of your house instead of a whole bedroom or half a wing of your house. You're selling off just the bathroom sink to pay off what the amount of the loan was that you took out 5 years ago. That's why we Bitcoin.
Yeah, Stefan Kinsella attacking me on Twitter right now. I don't. This is so stupid. Guys, if you steal content from another channel and the algorithm triggers like some kind of like warning or strike, like I don't know what to tell you. I'm resolving these claims as fast as I can, appropriately, with good intentions. There's no like malicious intent here. We're just trying to keep our content on our YouTube and keep people from profiting off that. It's just part of the job. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, yeah, we got to wrap this up here in 15 minutes. Great pitches, guys. I hope we sold some rumblers on Bitcoin. If not, don't worry, we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow on Thursday.
LOL to everyone. Sorry that everyone on YouTube could hear Alex's frantic typing while I was giving my passionate Bitcoin as digital real estate pep talk.
Oh, could you really? Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
that was me fighting the people on YouTube who are attacking me and doxing me because I trying to help them. I'm trying to resolve their request to restore their channels or their video, and they're behaving very irrationally. So yeah, it had to be addressed.
We do want to shout out, and I'm wearing one of them right now. This is honestly one of my favorite shirts.
I'm wearing one as well. Sound Money Fest windbreaker.
Yo, the windbreakers are so dope. I wore one yesterday on my flight. Like, honestly, TBD if it's waterproof. I kind of think they are. So nice, lightweight. We're for a limited time going to sell some of the conference swag, but it's going to be a very short window. There's not a ton of it left. We want to give everyone who wasn't able to attend the conference an opportunity to actually go out and buy some of it. Use promo code FOMO so they know that we sent you. You'll get 10% off. And like, you know, the drill. This way we can keep our jobs, because otherwise we ain't bringing you guys more fun content.
Yeah, I'm dropping the links in all the chats so you guys can check it out. You can also get your tickets for Bitcoin 2023 by going to b.tc/conference
Alex, mute
/2023. And they're really cheap. They're the cheapest they'll ever be. Alex was just holding up the Moon Mag.
I'm not gonna mute myself, Q.
Oh, I thought you were going over like the tweet stuff.
No. Well, yeah, I am over that. Don't be an asshole on Twitter. But also, got a copy of the Moon Mag here. Get yourself a copy of this. I got a piece in here. I don't know if it's the strongest piece in here, but there are many great pieces of Bitcoin literature in here. Probably the most exciting of which, let me find it real quick. Life After the Death of Fiat by our friend, where's the camera? Where's my camera? Pete Rizzo, on Saifedean Ammous, who wrote the Bitcoin Standard.
Wait, can you go to the beginning of the magazine, like one of the first couple pages?
Q just wants to show the recognition of when he's in the mag.
What are you looking for?
That's not what I'm trying to do, Chris.
Are you in the mag?
No,
Hold
no,
on, let's see.
that's not
No,
what
now
I'm
I
trying
want
to
to.
do.
No, now we gotta see if Q's in the mag.
I'm definitely not. What I'm trying to do, honestly, is pull up.
I am.
Dylan Leclerc.
Oh no, you're in it. You're in the mag.
Nice. But can you please pull up the astronaut headshot page?
No, I hate this page. This page
I
is
don't
under
care
protest.
what you hate. I want to show.
Look how
Dylan
small my
Leclerc.
head is, dude. They totally
Look at-
fucked me over
Show
on this.
Dylan Leclerc. God damn it.
Dylan's head's even smaller. He should be outraged. Look how little his head looks, dude.
Honestly, everyone should buy a copy of this magazine just so you can have this tiny little picture of Dylan Leclerc. I'm trying to pitch our store team to release a limited edition Dylan Leclerc astronaut action figures.
What is this? Dredd doesn't even have a suit. Dredd's just already in space. He doesn't need that.
But check out the Moon Mag. It's great. Get a subscription. Like, don't just buy one magazine, just buy them all. They're like Pokemon.
Yeah, they're collectible. I got my collection here. This is my public collection of magazines anyway. But we've got these are going for $1,000 a pop. Yeah, get yourself a first edition Bitcoin magazine.
There's only a few
They're
of them
scarce.
left too.
Yeah, there's not that many left. I don't know if we can say how much inventory is left, but there's not that many, and we're definitely not printing more of those. So go to the store and get 10% off everything you buy there with the promo code FOMO, FOMO. Go to bitcoinmagazine.com/stores. You'll find it. Promo code FOMO, 10% off everything in the store.
Yeah.
We got any other obligatory shills today?
I'm good. Q, you got anything?
All right. Buy Bitcoin. That's about it, guys. That's a wrap. Enjoy 420. If it has it even hit yet on your side of the wood? No, you're not even there yet. You started early.
I honestly, dude, I'm out of pot. I need to go pick up some weed.
Well, you better buy it with Bitcoin.
We'll wrap it up for Q.
literally
Gotta
will
buy
not.
more.
I will never spend my Bitcoin.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Catch you later.